Okay, do the weights. Okay, we said like this: consider the gain, okay, obtained by committing a sin against the loss that it incurs. Okay, consider the 3-second pleasure that you're gonna look at the object that is moving, okay, against the heat of the Gehenna by 50 degrees more. Okay, is it worth the 3-second pleasure against the 50 degrees of hell? Okay, so that's the type of rationale you gotta think when you look at these things, when you're about to do a thing. Okay, a person comes in, let's say he drives by and he sees McDonald's, oh, I want a burger, so he's about to step in. So think about this. I'm gonna enjoy this burger, okay, maybe for 5 minutes of my life, okay? But what is the consequences of up there? Okay, what is the consequences of up there? Is it worth the 5-minute pleasure against the 50 degrees or 100 degrees higher? Okay, probably not. So we also said consider the opposite. Consider the opposite. Let's say we know there is an inyan that says, look, if you're about to do an avera and you don't do it, right, you get a reward for it, right? So let's say again, let's bring down the case of McDonald's. You come over across McDonald's, oh, it smells good, right? The cheeseburger smells good. So you want it, but you're fighting yourself. You're fighting, and you don't do it. So for that amount of time, for that the fighting, you get a reward. Okay, so consider the reward, of the greatness of the reward over there, against the 5 minutes of pleasure that you're getting, the Aveira that you're getting. Okay, so every time you're about to get into do something, I think that's the best approach, in my opinion. Okay, in my opinion, that's the best approach. Think about it. 5 minutes of pleasure or 50 degrees heat higher. And think of the consequently, the reward that you're going to get over there against the 5 minutes of pleasure. Okay? So it's kind of circular reasoning, but it makes sense, I think. Right? And I think, in my opinion, anybody could do this. Okay, you don't have to be a rabbi, you don't have to be a big chacham, you just have to know some basic knowledge. Alright? Just do the weights. And hopefully by the time you come up with the decision, whatever the taiva you had will pass already. Okay, so that's one way. But again, the rationale is very simple. Okay, do the weights. The good versus the bad, and the bad versus the good. Alright? Make sense? Any questions? Any comments?
I was going to say it's hard to do that when you don't know what the punishment versus rewards are, and most people don't. There's a lot of arguments and a lot of back and forth.
Right, but the idea you understand, you do more sins the higher your heat is, right? We know that. Number one. Number two, we also said before, in the shiur, that do not be makel on the small mitzvah. Don't say, it's a small mitzvah, I'm not going to do, because you don't know the reward of each mitzvah. No, find me in the Chumash. Find me anywhere in the Torah that says if you do A, you get this much reward. If you do B, you get this much reward. Right? We're supposed to equate every mitzvah as the same, whether it's small or big. Right? We don't know what the reward for each mitzvah is, but we know you're going to get a reward. So what's better? You get a reward there. We know you're going to get it, right, Boris? That's a given. Right? But we don't...
Yeah, but there's also all kinds of ideas. Like, okay, so I had a cheeseburger, so I'm not kosher for 24 hours. I do teshuva, and tomorrow I'm okay, right? There's all these other ideas.
I never heard that idea. You do an avera, it's an avera. Okay, I don't know the cleansing process. I don't know if there was such a thing as a cleansing 24-hour cleansing period or a grace period.
Of course there is. What do you think? I eat a cheeseburger and that's it? I should commit suicide? I'm useless?
Oh, no. I'm not saying that.
There's a concept of cleanliness. You clean yourself and that's it. You move on. That's the whole point of Judaism. You always can get better and closer, and you always do teshuva, and you always grow. It never stops. You can always go in the right direction.
100%. But the question is, do you get punished for doing something bad?
Yes.
Okay, so the idea is the pleasure of 3 seconds that you get here versus a punishment or any punishment. Whether you can cleanse yourself or not, but the idea is you will get punished. Okay, you can do tshuva, you can do this, that's a given. I'm 100%, I agree with you. Okay? But again, the idea is like this. Let's say you don't do tshuva. Let's say the person doesn't do tshuva. He forgets. Okay, bottom line, can he get punished for doing something wrong? And yes, the reason is yes, he gets a little bit higher on the heat. Okay? And that's the idea. The idea is you got to think about it. Okay, you do this, you get this. If you don't do this, you will get a reward. And there is a reward, trust me. But good point, though. Good point. Any more comments, questions? Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. The next week we're gonna learn about Sinat Chinam, and we're gonna talk about Ve'ahavta L'Orecha Kamocha. We're gonna learn the background of each prohibition or mitzvah. I got a new set of Sefer Chinuch, so that I'm excited, and we'll discuss about that, what he has to say. I think it's very interesting. So I'll stop here unless you people have comments or questions. Rabbi, do you have something to share, perhaps? Rabbi Ribakov?
Yes, I'm here. The Gemara does break down what you mentioned about the different stages that a person should use to fight the Yetzer Hara. I think the last one was remind us all about the day of death. Life is temporary and it's fleeting, and like you mentioned before about is it worth it, the pleasure for a few seconds, for a few minutes, compared to the eternity of Olam Haba, the next world, and Chas v'Shalom Gehinnom as well. So it's something that we need to put into perspective to, like you said, weigh the good versus the bad, and is it worth it to lose all that I have coming with me in the next world?
Okay, so which Gemara is it? Do you know? Because I took it from Mishnah, but I didn't see a Gemara on that. So
I think it's Masechet Brachot in the beginning. I can try to look for it and then.
okay, if you have time, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you for joining. Again, if you have questions, you could ask me or the Rav, and we'll try to our best to answer it. Okay.
Okay, Hazak Baruch.
Hazak Baruch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for Yehuda to putting this all together. I appreciate it.
Oh, you.
No, it's all you. Thank you. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you for joining.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.